Welcome back to another episode of Good Stories with Josh and Oscar. I am Josh Haynes, and this is my friend
Oscar Mendoza.
And before we get started, I want to introduce you to the man behind the camera who you probably won't see, but you do see his, well, they're not creepy hands at the beginning or at the end, but his hand in the writing. That is Caleb Ward. He is our audio video editor, and he does some great work for us.
Yes,
As always, we are here to tell you good and wholesome stories, and for no other reason except to boost your spirits and help you have a better day. And so, Oscar, with that said, give us our first one.
My first story takes us with graduation that's been happening all around the last couple of months. I figured this graduation story about Devarius Peters, who was getting ready to graduate. So imagine all your whole life and you're getting ready to graduate from high school, and you find out that the black and white soled shoes that you're wearing are not allowed, not in the dress code, so they're not going to allow you to get your diploma.
Oh.
So what ends up happening, he sees a para-educator for the school named John Butler and approaches him hoping that maybe he could convince the lady to allow him to get in. When that does fail, he did the only thing that any decent human being would do, and basically swapped out his size 11 loafers for Devarius's size 9 tennis shoes. Of course, the student was not surprised. He said that that's something that's in his character for Mr. Butler to do. And as the saying goes, a truly generous man will give the shirt off his back to someone in need. Of course, in this case, his shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. The first story that I want to give you is actually about a sheriff's deputy from Virginia named Jay Holt. He received a call about a car crash where an automobile had been flipped over and there was a person trapped. So he arrives on the scene, and when he opens his door, he hears the unthinkable, a child screaming from the car. And so he sprints to this car and comes upon this traumatic scene where this child is actually sitting unbuckled on the roof part, but his mother, somehow in the car crash, the sunroof had been broken and she was thrown through the sunroof and pinned in the car, partially in the car and partially under the sunroof on the outside. And so Jay Holt, with the boy screaming, gets the boy out of the car, and he begins to try to help her get out until finally adrenaline kicks in, and this man literally rocks this car onto his back and steps under it and pushes it all the way up to help this lady get out from underneath it. I mean, a true like Green Hulk type moment.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and what's crazy about this story, and I love this story, but what's crazy about this story is this guy had just received the year previous in 2020 another award for having saved 2 people from a burning building. Wow. I mean, this guy is willing to do anything to save anyone, and he is in the right place at the right time, or I guess maybe he thinks he's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Maybe.
But whatever he's doing, he is definitely caring for people.
Yeah, well, definitely kudos to him for what he did there and the previous one, but also thanks to all your family and friends that are currently police officers.
Absolutely.
And do firefighting as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough job, but, you know, someone's got to do it.
Yeah,
and definitely went above and beyond.
Yeah, I like it. What's your next one?
So the next story is basically just a reminder that sometimes that we tend to be the person that holds ourselves back for whatever reason that may be. But this story is called The Elephant Rope. And what it talks about is a man that is passing by, and he's kind of confused because he notices these elephants that are tied to a rope. And he thinks to himself that he knows that those elephants could at any time bust those ropes and get away. So he asked one of the trainers as to, you know, why they're not trying to escape. And basically the trainer says very simple, that as baby elephants, that they're tied to the exact same rope that they were tied to at the moment he saw them. And that as they're growing up, they stay with that same rope, and they're trained to believe that this rope is unbreakable. And so the guy is very amazed because he knows that they could break free at any time. And it just goes to show that sometimes we get trained, you know, we think, oh, we come from a certain background or circumstance, and that's what we are. and that's all we can do, and that's absolutely not true.
Yeah.
And especially it's a good reminder, especially as I mentioned to you earlier today, that sometimes you get so caught up in trying to do the right thing and try to be perfect, and it doesn't always work that way, and you think that you're holding things back. And so essentially we could break that rope.
Yeah, I like it. I want to tell you the last story here. This is one about an 80-year-old man who recently walked into what he called a beauty shop. And when he was asked by the ladies who were working in the shop, what are you here for? What do you need? He said, I need to learn how to use a curling wand, and I need to learn how to do makeup. And they all kind of smirked, maybe laughed a little bit, and kind of asked him why. And he said, well, my wife of 50 plus years has been basically losing her eyesight over the last little while, and she's been burning herself as she's been trying to do her own hair. And so I need to learn how to do this so I can take care of her. And so these ladies bring him in, and they get to work, and they begin teaching him the skills on how to take care of his wife. It is one of the most just heartwarming stories. He began to pull out pictures of his wife and say, these are some of the best pictures of her. Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she lovely? Teach me how to make her look like this again. And so that's what they did. After all of this time and getting a chance to really work on this, he told him he needed one more skill, and he needed to learn how to do mascara, because that was one of the ones he was most worried about, making certain he could pull that one off. And so they taught him how to do that one. And then after a period of time, he decided he was going to bring his wife back to meet all the ladies who had taught him how to do her hair and her makeup. And I don't think we'd be shocked, but the ladies in the store were very impressed at all of the great work he'd been able to do and the ways he had gotten a chance to take care of her.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
I love that story of love and what it looks like for commitment for all of those years. And I think in a lot of ways, kind of to wrap up our episode today, it's pretty simple. Like, who are the loved ones in your life, and what wouldn't you do to take care of them?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about that tomorrow's never promised, and being able to spend that time with your family and friends, and go that extra mile in your spare time, go do good things for other people.
Yeah, I like it. This has been episode 3 of Good Stories with Josh and Oscar, and we want to thank you for watching.
Thank you.